Imagine a Royal Navy warship sailing into the North Atlantic, not alone, but surrounded by a swarm of uncrewed vessels. Surface drones scouting ahead, underwater robots hunting submarines, aerial systems watching from above. All controlled from a single crewed ship acting as the brain of the operation. This isn't science fiction. This is the future the Royal Navy is now building. And in 2026, Britain made one of the biggest shifts in surface warfare strategy in decades. Today, we're breaking down the hybrid fleet, what it is, why the Navy is doing it, and whether this high-stakes gamble will keep the United Kingdom safe. For years, the plan was clear. Britain's 6 Type 45 destroyers, some of the most advanced air defense ships in the world, would eventually be replaced by a new class called the Type 83. Bigger, more capable, designed to dominate the skies. That plan is gone. Under the updated Defence Investment Plan announced in June 2026, the Type 83 is effectively cancelled. In its place, the Royal Navy will receive several cheaper vessels known as Common Combat Vessels. These ships will act as command hubs, motherships, controlling fleets of uncrewed and autonomous systems. The official term is hybridization. Crewed platforms like frigates will still form the core, but they will fight alongside large numbers of drones on the surface, underwater, and in the air. Think of it as a distributed force. Fewer high-value manned ships, more mass and presence delivered by robots. The Navy keeps its new Type 26 and Type 31 frigates. It keeps its aircraft carriers. But the surface fleet of the future will look very different from the one we know today. First, the threat. Russian warships and submarines have been operating near UK waters with increasing frequency. For months at a time in 2026, Royal Navy ships and helicopters maintained an almost unbroken watch on Russian vessels in the Channel, North Sea, and North Atlantic. Russian research ships have shown particular interest in the undersea cables that carry more than 90% of Britain's data and financial traffic. Second, money and numbers. Building large, sophisticated destroyers is extremely expensive. The Navy is already stretched thin, trying to maintain presence across the globe while protecting home waters. Third, the lessons of modern conflict. Wars in Ukraine and elsewhere have shown that cheap, attritable drones can change the balance of power. A single expensive warship is a high-value target. A network of crewed and uncrewed systems is harder to knock out. The hybrid approach is the Navy's answer to all three challenges at once. Supporters say this is the only realistic way forward. Common combat vessels will be cheaper and faster to build than full-size destroyers. Uncrewed systems can be risked in dangerous waters without putting sailors' lives on the line. The Navy can generate more mass, more sensors, more weapons, more presence than it could with traditional ships alone. Former senior officers have publicly backed the concept, calling the hybrid fleet the right direction for both capability and British shipbuilding. Critics are less convinced. They argue that cancelling the Type 83 leaves a gap in high-end air defence. They worry about resilience. What happens if communications are jammed or the uncrewed systems are taken out? And some question whether the funding will actually deliver the numbers of drones and vessels that have been promised. The Defence Investment Plan itself has been controversial. One former Defence Secretary resigned earlier in 2026, arguing the overall package still falls short of what Britain needs against the current range of threats. This is not a risk-free strategy. It is a calculated gamble. The hybrid Navy isn't starting from zero. Autonomous systems are already in service. Royal Navy mine hunting teams are deploying uncrewed underwater vehicles from motherships. Trials of uncrewed surface vessels continue. Drones have operated from the flight decks of carriers and warships. Royal Marines have used aerial systems for reconnaissance and logistics. In the Middle East, ships like HMS Dragon and RFA Lime Bay have been operating with advanced autonomous mine countermeasures equipment. At home, the Navy has opened dedicated uncrewed systems centers and is accelerating experiments with AI and remote control. Meanwhile, the day-to-day reality continues. Frigates and patrol vessels still shadow Russian ships, board sanctioned tankers, and protect critical undersea infrastructure. The hybrid fleet is intended to make those missions more sustainable and more effective over time. Looking ahead, the Royal Navy talks about building an Atlantic Fleet series of capabilities. Better underwater sensing, stronger air and missile defense, and long-range strike options, many of them delivered by drones and missiles. Common combat vessels of around 100 meters in length are expected to play a key role in the North Atlantic, working with uncrewed systems to counter submarines and protect those vital cables. If the plan works, Britain could field a more numerous, more flexible, and more technologically advanced surface force than it could have afforded with traditional ships alone. If it falls short, the Navy risks having neither the high-end capability of the old plan nor the mass of the new one. The next 5 to 10 years will tell us which future arrives. The Royal Navy is placing a major bet on hybrid warfare. Crewed ships and uncrewed systems working together. Fewer traditional destroyers, more drones, more distributed power. It's one of the most significant changes in British surface fleet thinking in a generation. What do you think? Is this the smart, modern answer to today's threats, or a dangerous compromise forced by budgets? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this useful, hit like and subscribe for more clear explanations of what's really happening with the world's navies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.